taking a look at the overall market, with being at the all-time highs for the most part, you're probably asking, are we going to get a pullback? Are we overbought? What's going to happen? Are we going to continue to the upside? So if you could see it right now for this overall channel, dating back since 2008, 2009, more predominantly was kept down in 2010. So when we went up to it, got knocked down as an upward trend resistance level multiple times as well in 2011 right here. And then from 2013 to 2015, just kept on getting knocked down on the upside. Now we are approaching it again. And at the same time, this is the RSI chart. This indicates if it's overly bought or overly sold. Right now, it is overly bought. I wouldn't say it's an extremely bought territory, because in my opinion, I consider it extremely bought territory once it passes it, just like it has happened in the past right here, and right here you could see. So the question is, are we going to get a pullback? And a pullback would just essentially be like this for a dramatic example, and then hopefully bounce up to the upside at one point on one of the support levels and continue to the upside. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think most likely we're going to see a repetition of what we've seen in 2013 to 2015, which is a strange statement to state, because we see that, for example, a lot of industries with the chip shortage is affecting a lot of industries out there. The chip shortage is technically going to continue all the way till 2023 and not improve until then. Plus we have the Delta variant and all that stuff happening. But this is considering everything aside, we have, for example, United States corporate profits. They are doing relatively well. So this was during the pandemic, and then they've recovered for the most part, relatively speaking. Unemployment numbers for the U.S. side have been decreasing, so unemployment numbers are lowering. They're not as low as they were pre-pandemic, but at least they're still lowering. Then we have United States bankruptcy numbers, overall still low, which is pretty impressive overall. So you can see they've been dropping. They haven't skipped a beat yet. And then if you look at the interest rate, now this is important, because right now it's 0.25 basis points, or 0 to 0.25 basis points. So essentially 0% interest rate almost. And the reason why that's important is because when you have low interest rates, then companies could borrow more money for R&D, acquisitions, all that stuff, which multiplies their earnings to a greater extent, which therefore their price to earnings ratio for their stock could continue to grow. Otherwise, once you increase interest rates, then companies tend to not borrow as much, therefore they can't invest for further growth, and then their PE ratios technically start lowering down to where they basically come back to normal levels, if that makes sense. I did a bad explanation for that. But next thing is we have the 10-year treasury. It is decreasing, so that is good. Relates to inflation and all that stuff. Take it as you will, though. Some people don't really trust the 10-year treasury overall, but in a way it is decreasing, so that is another good sign. So now another thing is to consider in terms of it just going to go sideways is this is the MAC line. So the MAC line indicates if it's a bearish or bullish movement. In terms of the 5-year chart, though, right now at the moment it's a mix constantly back and forth from bullish to bearish territory. Right now it is in the negative, so it is in a bearish movement. We might get a small pullback up until this support level right here. So let me go to the 1-year chart right about now. In terms of the 1-year chart, we saw that this channel right here, it's kind of loading slowly, sorry about that, but when it dropped down, it bounced off the support level, but then when it went up, it got knocked down by this resistance level. So you could see it back in, 2018 in January. So it went up in 2018 January, got knocked down as resistance, but it came down and bounced off support. Now we saw, as of recent, not only did it act as resistance, this upward trend resistance line, but it acted as support as well. The only thing is, though, it wasn't it wasn't good enough support where it broke through at one point, and then essentially for the most part bounced off the moving average as support. So if we were to drop, let's just say on August 11th, we hopefully would bounce off at 4,359 points, but most likely would probably drop down to somewhere around 4,318 points, give or take. But this is just going to give you an overview of what you could expect overall for the market. We are in overly bought territory. We are at the peak of the top of the resistance. Doesn't mean technically we'll see a pullback yet, but don't be surprised if we do see some kind of pullback overall. I don't expect anything dramatic yet for the time being. Today is August 9th, 2021, and the market's closed at negative 0.09% for the S&P 500. By the way, this is the S&P 500 index fund, and it's the 500 largest companies traded on the U.S. stock exchange. Hopefully you liked the video. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. If you like the video, consider dropping a like. Helps out the channel, so thank you so much for that. If you like videos like this or other stock videos or other financial videos that I'll be posting in the future, consider subscribing so you're notified when I do upload those videos. And that's basically it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next video. Peace.